We moved out to countryside in 2007, trading the noise of Salt Lake City for what the realtor called a semi-rural dream. Space for the kids, quiet nights, and skies full of stars. We weren't farmers, but we liked the idea of land of peace. The town had no real boundaries, just scattered homes, winding roads, and neighbors that waved from porches instead of apartment balconies. It was perfect until it wasn't. The first sign came in late 2009. My cousin, who lived just a mile down the road, called early one morning. His voice shook. "Have you seen Bruno?" Bruno was their Great Dane, a gentle giant, practically family. I asked to get out. There was a long pause. Then, "I'm hoping what I found wasn't the rest of him." I drove over. In his backyard, he was digging a grave, one far too small for a dog that size. A tarp lay nearby. I didn't need to ask. The deputy who came out said it was probably a mountain lion. They'd been pushed closer as construction moved deeper into the wild. Made sense, almost, but mountain lions usually avoid large dogs. They're ambush predators, not risk takers. Bruno wasn't a meal, he was a fight. Life went on. We kept our labs, Max and Cooper, in a fence yard. The kids were told not to wander into the woods. Then the Sewells, an older couple up the hill, lost a cat, found torn apart in the yard. A week later, another one, same way, 2 in a week. Terrible luck, we thought. Wildlife, maybe a bear. We told ourselves these things. But it was strange that whatever was out there never touched the livestock. Chickens, goats, cattle, left untouched. Only pets. I mentioned it to Carrie one night. If it's a predator, why just the pets? She shrugged. Maybe they wander further. Easier targets. Maybe. Then, in March, someone knocked on our door. Late, around 10 p.m. It was Mr. Sewell. We barely knew him beyond polite nods. But that night, he looked worn and scared. "You folks ever seen or heard anything strange out here?" he asked as I joined him on the porch. I said no, then watched as he took off his cap, rubbed a hand through thin gray hair. "What I'm about to say stays between us." I nodded. He went on. "Last night, I was taking scraps out to goats. About 11:30. They were all huddled in the corner, but something else was in the pan, bigger than a bear, just hunched there, covered in fur." I asked, "The goats didn't react?" "That's the thing," he said. "They didn't care, like it belonged there." Then he told me the worst part. They'd kept their last cat, Lily, inside every night after losing the first 2. Every window locked, except one. The laundry room window, one of those crank types, locked from the inside. Only it had been opened from the outside. He looked me in the eye. Something opened it, not the wind. He warned me, "Lock up, stay alert." We did. Every door, every window. No kids alone outside. For weeks, nothing happened. Until one evening, the kids were playing in the yard. Carrie was in the kitchen. I was in my office finishing emails. The sun had just dipped below the horizon when I heard her scream. Not a shout, a full primal scream. I ran out the door. Carrie had our youngest in her arms, rushing the other 2 toward the house. "What happened?" I asked. She pointed toward the trees. At first, I didn't see it. But then, it was standing there, just beyond the tree line. Tall, too tall, covered in fur, with the head of a canine. Standing on 2 legs. Its limbs hung long and loose. Its legs were bent in a way no animal should be. And it was still watching us, breathing, waiting. Inside. "Now," I said, backing toward the door. Once inside, I locked everything. And I remember what Mr. Sewell said about something cranking open his window. We called the sheriff. A deputy came an hour later. Said it was probably a sick coyote. But I knew better. I warned every neighbor with kids. We organized hunting parties. Rifles. Flashlights. We never saw it again. Not clearly. One boy said he saw eyes in the woods. Too high to be a deer. Too wide for coyote. Then the attack stopped. No more missing pets. No more strange shadows at the edge of our yards. Life returned to normal. Kind of. but we all locked our doors a little tighter after dark. 13 years later, I still live in that house. My kids are grown now. Mr. Sewell passed away. His wife moved out. Some nights, I still hear the coyotes howl in the hills, and I listen closely for the sound that doesn't belong, for the breath that's too deep, too human, because whatever it wasn't hunting for food. It was hunting for something else. And I'm afraid, I used to believe that the strangest things lived in the city. But after moving to the countryside, I learned the real monsters stay quiet until the night falls. It started small. Dead pets, sounds in the dark, then silhouettes. Something wrong, lurking just at the edge of reason. And eventually, it got close enough to leave its mark. We thought it was a mountain lion at first, something wild, but it wasn't. In the stillness of one March evening, a neighbor described what he saw, a creature, large and hunched, crouched in the corner of his goat pen. The animals didn't even react. That's what chilled me. It wasn't fear. It was recognition, like they knew it. And then someone else saw it, a cat that became a woman, hunched, twisted, her arms impossibly long, her eyes reflecting the lightning above. When the storm passed, so did the creature, but the roof, dented and warped, was proof. It had walked above us. For a while, life returned to normal, but not for me, not after I brought something new into my home. It was just a glass cat, an antique from a thrift store, pretty white, with a red collar and glassy blue eyes. Mitzi, my calico, hated it instantly. She hissed and scratched me when I put on my dresser. I thought she was being weird, until she wouldn't enter my room anymore, until I started hearing meows when she wasn't around, until I felt her jump onto my bed. But when I looked, she was on the floor, staring up at me. The glass cat would shift positions. My skin would turn cold where it sat. And then the scratching started. Walls, doors, furniture, scratches that weren't there the night before. Until one night, I saw it, a white figure, cat-like, at my bedroom door. It didn't move. It stared. Then it stood upright, its form twisted into something ghoulish. Gray, bat-eared, yellow-eyed. I screamed. Something threw a knife across the room the next day. A butter knife, with peanut butter still smeared on the wall behind me. I had enough. I grabbed the glass cat to throw it away, and it cut me. Clean, deep, no cracks, no breaks, just blood. I tossed it. The trash truck came the next morning, and then everything stopped. Mitzi returned to normal. The scratching, the meowing, the dread, it all vanished. For a moment, I thought it was over, but it never really is it? I moved years later, far away, somewhere quiet in Washington State. The silence was comforting, until it wasn't. Vernon, my loudest goat, went silent one night. Not a sound from the pens. That kind of stillness? It's not peace. It's warning. I saw it near the pen. Beneath Vernon were other eyes. Small, close-set, watching. And Vernon, who panicked at squirrels, didn't even blink. The eyes disappeared. No sound, just vanished. That quiet still hasn't left me. Even now, I listen for what's not there, because that's where it hides. In Norway, my friend and I wandered the forest, kids looking for a thrill. What we found was a trail of shifting footprints, starting large and clawed, ending like a bird's. At his place, the forest went silent. Then we heard it, a scream, a human one. We ran, but the fear followed us. That night, walking a road that hugged the woods, something watched us. Not a person, not an animal, and not just one thing. A blur, a crawling, shifting blur. Something that doesn't belong in this world, and doesn't care. These stories happen years and continents apart, but there's a pattern in them. A silence that comes before it arrives. A stare that lasts too long. A shape that should not exist. And a knowing, patient presence that waits. For the dark, for your fear, for your attention. And once you notice it, it's already too late. I request you to please like my video and subscribe my channel, and give your remarks in comment section. It will motivate me to give you best true stories.